Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. My angle in moments. But first, we're just over, 100 days till the midterms. And as Democrats grapple with their own socialist insurrection, the president and his cabinet hit the road in Georgia. They tackled the affordability issue. They touted Trump accounts and drew the contrast with the Democrats in stark terms. We're the party of limitless opportunity. They're the party of forced scarcity.
Communism is a loser. The concept, the policy, it's a loser, and it always has been, and it always will be. Communism is the single greatest threat to our country and its history, and these people are stone cold crazy. And it is the enemy of the free people everywhere and everywhere in the world.
And I think little Mamdani knows this branding is having some effect. And he knows his city's a mess, so what can he really do but laugh?
Being a Muslim democratic socialist, I thought it would be pretty straightforward.
You just saw like, well, what if I label myself something that scares people the most? I'm a Muslim democratic socialist.
If you scare him twice.
Well, he's certainly scaring his tax base away, as naive followers think they're just going to get a whole bunch of free stuff. The wealthy, they're fleeing the city.
They want to give everyone everything away. You want free rent, you want free house, what they don't say is that a year from now, there'll be absolute squalor, turmoil, and death. And that's the way it's happened. John Ossoff and the Democrat communists want to let the Marxists into power, bankrupt your families, and leave you totally undefended with wide open borders. But we will not let that happen to our country. We're not going to let it happen.
So in the battleground states, the socialist shuffle, it's not really helping them. And in the Senate race in Michigan, hard left candidate Abdu El-Sayed knows it.
You haven't embraced that socialist label despite embracing a lot of those same policies. Why not?
Because I'm just not a socialist. Like, I don't fight for a label. I fight for people. And maybe it's just because I'm too much of a scientist. Like, I'm an empiricist. Show me solutions that can work to solve problems, and I'll be for them.
I'm too much of a scientist. He was not a practicing physician. We know that. He went to med school. Fantastic. But come on, let's not try to hang it on your scientist card. And what solutions is El-Sayed talking about? Abolishing ICE? Defunding the police? Because he's for both of those. So Democrats here are in a socialist trap of their own making. For years and years, because they wanted voters, they wanted young people, they fed the beast. They looked the other way when these things were said. But now they just have to hope the beast doesn't come for them. So they end up trying to downplay the crazy and reframe it as something more benign.
Generally, their crazy ideas aren't where the energy is. The energy isn't around, like, we shouldn't have prisons or borders. The energy is around a belief that their economic populism. It's about strengthening a safety net for a country that has suffered too long, overvaluing capital and money and undervaluing labor and work. That's all. That's it.
Well, first of all, the only economic populism out there is from Trump. Okay, it's talking about trade and restricting immigration. It's not economic populism when you flood the country with millions of people who then end up driving wages down for the working class. So nice try, John. And also, do their supporters really even know what they believe?
How do you think things are going under Mamdani?
I mean, I'm not super aware of what's going on in the news, but I think from what I've been hearing, pretty well.
So far, so great from what I know.
What have you heard?
I know he wants to, I don't know, like, get rid of, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not super aware of what's going on in the news.
The people love him. I hear that more often than not.
Can I buy a vowel? I think the most interesting analysis of this supposed new socialist wave came from a University of Connecticut professor today writing in the Wall Street Journal. He said that almost no one my age, his age, has studied a Marx beyond any digestible short-form scroll. Generation Z is filled with people who feel wronged, and those who feel wrong gravitate toward the loudest thing opposed to whatever they sense wrong them. Young people can be socialists, and some truly are, but a symbol you can wear and can't define, can't argue with, can't see the flaws in is an aesthetic, not
in reality,
politics.
Democratic socialism and radicalism is simply a vessel to overthrow the U.S. of our country from within. The plan, as stated in the DSA's chapter, win elections, throw out the Constitution, abolish the Senate, abolish the Electoral College. Of course, you want to stack the courts, strip away all powers from the White House and Supreme Court, and then, boom, democratic socialism / communism, just, regular old, that'll be the end of America as we know it. Now, you can vote your way into socialism, but you can't vote your way out of it. Sounds extreme? Yeah, because it is. And don't forget, democratic socialists, they don't love this country. One of their core leaders, Hassan Piker, said America deserved 9/11, this in the 25th anniversary year of 9/11/01. And now, in his podcast, he proudly displays a framed newspaper. Take a look at this from 9/12/01, showing the Twin Towers on fire. Take a look.
Also, you might have noticed some changes behind me. I finally framed the Cutie Cinderella newspaper from 9/11, the morning of 9/12, the newspaper right there. The newspaper that covered 9/11. It's now officially sitting behind me, and I moved the North Korean poster.
Recently, the college Democrats invited Piker to speak at their annual convention. He showed up dressed like a Chinese dictator and delivered a hate-filled rant against all of his political enemies, including Israel, Donald Trump, and other Democrats. The speech was kind of insane, so insane that the University of Kansas Democrats, they actually got up and walked out, later condemning Piker's extremism in a statement. Of course, Piker, wasn't just dressed like Chairman Mao for fun. He actually reveres one of, history's most evil and murderous dictators ever to exist on this planet. Take a look.
They clipped me talking about Mao Zedong, up by a cop who thought I was like making fun of Mao Zedong, which I never would and never will. Mao Zedong is a one of the great leaders of this world. Okay, a man who changed the entire universe, the entire planet. He did. He changed the trajectory of history. He is the founding father of the People's Republic of China. Mao Zedong gets the same level of credit that the founding fathers do for America.
Now, tens of millions of Chinese citizens actually died under Mao, many due to starvation. Many more died in political prison camps or at the barrel of a gun lined up against the wall. Now, this is what democratic radical socialists want to bring to America. Now, Jon Stewart, he's all smiles, kicks and giggles, laughing it up with New York City's communist mayor. Take a look.
Being a Muslim democratic socialist, I thought it would be pretty straightforward.
You just saw what if I label myself something that scares people the most? I'm a Muslim democratic socialist.
If you scare them, you scare them twice.
And I'd like to run your public transportation system.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What happened to the free buses anyway? And now, according to Jon Stewart, there's no need to panic over the rise of socialism. It's just a populist economic movement. Apparently, Jon Stewart is thinking that the left doesn't actually support the radical policies stated in the DSA's own charter. Take a look.
We're in that same place now where all these new ideas, suddenly the Democrats are, these democratic socialists, they're crazy. And you're like, well, but that generally their crazy ideas aren't where the energy is. The energy isn't around we shouldn't have prisons or borders. The energy is around a belief that they're economic populism. And when you call it socialism, I think it's a misnomer. In the same way that if you call Social Security socialism, that's kind of a misnomer. It's about strengthening a safety net for a country that has suffered too long, overvaluing capital and money and undervaluing labor and work.
Now, the energy is about open borders, defund, dismantle, no bail laws, reimagine the police. lot of energy on all of those topics. They do support these extreme goals. They do hate America as we know it. They do want to upend our Constitution. They do want to replace capitalism with socialism, communism. And so far, 35 DSA-backed candidates now have won primaries all across the country ahead of a very important midterm come November. And none of these candidates have made a move to the center for the primary. In fact, they're very honest about wanting to upend the American system. When someone tells you who they are and what they plan to do, my advice is you may want to believe them, or maybe you could just listen to President Trump. Take a listen.
Communism is a loser. The concept, the policy, it's a loser, and it always has been, and it always will be. And, you know, they want to give everyone everything away. You want free rent, you want free house, you want what they don't say is that a year from now, there'll be absolute squalor, turmoil, and death. And that's the way it's happened all the way. It goes back thousands of years by different names. But that's the way it happens all the time. It's squalor, it's poverty, it's death, it's destruction. And that's why we declare again today that the United States of America will never be a communist country. America is back. It's stronger than ever before. And I'm telling you, it's only going one way. It's going up. As long as we keep our current thinking, our current system, it's going up. If you go the other way, nothing ever succeeds. I made the statement once, with communism, everything turns to okay? It's true.
All right, so where are all those courageous Democrats who care about the Constitution, the rule of law, the American way of life? They seem to be few and far between.
Attention all planets of the Solar Federation, this is the Anti-Marxist Magnum.
All right, this is the Anti-Marxist Magnum, episode 4. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Welcome back. For the past 3 episodes, the first 3 episodes, we've been on a journey. We started with the history of Marxism itself, from Marx and Engels through the Soviet Union and into the modern day. We looked at how Marxists tried to hijack the American labor movement and how American workers, bless their hearts, saw through it every single time. And last week we looked at cultural Marxism and the demographic question. How the ideology has infiltrated our universities, our media, and our politics. And how mass migration is reshaping entire countries in ways that would make Marx himself nod in approval. So here's a question I've been asked more than any other since this show launched. What do we do about it? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we can talk about solutions, we have to be honest about the problem. Marxism isn't some fringe ideology anymore. It's not a dusty book in a library. It's not just a few college professors yelling at the clouds. It's in your city council meetings. It's in your school board elections. It's even been in the White House. We know it's in the mayor's office in New York City. And it's also found in policies being pushed by politicians on both sides of the aisle. That's fact. Socialism isn't a dirty word anymore. It's a campaign platform. Marxism isn't a footnote in a history book anymore. It's a blueprint for policy. And look, not all the people pushing it, some of the people pushing it are definitely bad people, but not all the people pushing it are bad people. That's the tricky part, right? Most of them genuinely believe they're, doing good or trying to help. They see inequality, they see suffering, they see injustice, and they think the state is the solution. Boy, are they ever wrong. The first thing we have to win is the battle of ideas. Marxism survives because it offers a simple explanation for a complex world. It says you're poor because the system is rigged. You're struggling because the rich are exploiting you. You're unhappy because capitalism is destroying your soul. That's their belief. It's, it's seductive. It's comforting. But above all else, it's wrong. So, what we have to do, those of us who oppose Marxism, communism, and socialism, we have to offer a better explanation. We have to show people that freedom works. That free markets, individual liberty, and personal responsibility have lifted more people out of poverty than any socialist regime in history ever has. That's a fact. We have to be willing to engage with the ideas, not just shout them down. We have to be willing to read the books, understand the arguments, and respond with clarity and conviction. And I hope to give you some of the tools to be able to do that with this show. That's why I started. That's what this show is about. That's what I've been doing with my other work already for 20 years. And that's what we all have to do if we're going to push back against this ideology. The second thing that we've got to do is somehow figure out a way to get involved in the political process. Marxists understand that politics matters. They understood it in the 1880s when they founded the British Fabian Society, which we'll be talking about next week. They understood it in the 1930s when they infiltrated the New Deal. They understand it even today when they run for school board, city council, and Congress. So guess what, folks? We have to do the same thing. Look, that doesn't mean running for office yourself. Although if you're called to do that, go for it. It means showing up. It means voting. It means paying attention to the local elections. Excuse me. Paying attention to the local elections. Not just the big national ones that get national news. It means supporting candidates who understand the threat of Marxism and are willing to push back. Those are the people that we need to support. It means being informed, engaged, and active. Because if you're not, the Marxists will continue to win by default. It's one thing they never taught us in school. The fight for liberty and freedom is not something that already happened or happened in the past or might happen in the future. It's an ongoing, constant fight. And if you want freedom, you have to be willing to stand up and fight for it. Because the third thing that we have to do is start to fight for the culture. Look, Marxists understood something early on. If you control the culture, you control the politics. That's why they focused on the universities. That's why they focused on the media. That's why they focused on the arts. They knew that if they could change the way people think, they could change the way people vote. We have to do the same thing. We have to build our own institutions. We have to support the independent media like me. We have to create content that offers a different vision. A vision of freedom. A vision of individual liberty. A vision of limited government. We have to be willing to have the difficult conversations with our families, with our neighbors, with our coworkers. Not in an aggressive way, but in a thoughtful, respectful way. It may be hard for some of you to consider this, myself included, but it's weird, but we have to be the adults in the room when it comes to this subject. The fourth thing that we have to do is take care of ourselves and our communities. Marxism promises to take care of you from cradle to grave. We all know how that ends. The state becomes your parent, your provider, your master. We have to show people that there's a better way. A way that means being self-reliant. A way that means building strong families. Supporting our neighbors. That means creating communities that don't need the state to survive. It means that we have to start being the kind of person that others look at and say, that's what freedom looks like. So here's where I land. Look, Marxism isn't going away. It's been around for about 175 years. It's not going anywhere. But that doesn't mean that you have to accept it. Doesn't mean that you have to surrender. We fight. Not with violence, never with violence. We fight with ideas. We fight with truth. We fight with courage. We fight by building something better than their system. By showing people that freedom works. It really does work. But we have to be the kind of people that don't need the state to save us. Because we have the power, the ability, and the means to save ourselves. That's the mission. That's what this show is all about. And that's what I'm going to keep on doing. What I've always done. Now, some of you might be thinking, Josh, you mentioned something in episode 3 about the Frankfurt School and the universities. Are there other groups like that? Are there other intellectual movements that shape the world that we live in today with socialism and communism and Marxism? Oh, that would be a great question, and the answer is yes. Next week on the Anti-Marxist Magnum, we're going to look at one of the most influential and least understood groups in the history of socialism. The Fabian Society. We're going to look at who they are, what they believe, and how their ideas shape the welfare state. As well as the Labour Party in the UK and the modern progressive movement. All of this spawned from the Fabian Socialists. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. This is the Anti-Marxist Magnum. Big truths, clear opposition. Until next time, stay free, stay skeptical. Never stop asking questions. I love you all. God bless. Be sure to support our work by making a donation or buying a film. You can find all the ways to do that in the bottom of this video, the first comment here on YouTube. If you would like to be a sponsor of the broadcast or a guest on the show, you can email me at tamshow@protonmail.com. That's TAMMSHOW, tamshow@protonmail.com. That's how you get a hold of us here at the Anti-Marxist Magnum if you'd like to advertise, be a guest on the show. All right. Big episode next week, and I really do thank you all. Please like and subscribe to the show. We had the most listeners we've had yet last week, and I hope we get even more this week. All right? Spread the word. Contribute to our work. And we'll see you next time.